Verse 5, he burned the bones of the priests on their altars. So he purged Judah and Jerusalem and the towns of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, as far as Naphtali and the ruins around them. He tore down the altars and the Asherah poles and crushed the idols to powder. He crushed the idols to powder. Don't you love Josiah? He says, we're not just going to break them. We're not just going to get rid of, we're just not going to throw them to let the trash man pick them up. We're going to crush them. And we're going to make these idols, these bad attitudes, we're going to take them and we're going to crush them and grind them into powder. Because he means business. The restoration generation needs to cross the line, and you need to mean business. I hope you're getting this tonight. Verse 8. In the 18th year, by now Josiah's 26. I'm 27. So he was about my age. When he was 26 years old, Josiah began to purify the land and the temple. He sent Shaphan, son of Azulahula and Musasula, and he was the ruler of the city, and all those guys. They went to repair the temple of the Lord. They went to, if you'll just read along with me, just follow along. Verse 9, they went to Hilkiah, the high priest, and gave him the money that had been brought into the temple, which the Levites, who were the doorkeepers, had collected from the people of Manasseh, Ephraim, and the entire remnant, the little bit that remained of Israel, and from all the people of Judah and Benjamin and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. I'm going somewhere. Keep following. Verse 10. Then they entrusted it to the men appointed to supervise the work on the Lord's temple. These men paid the workers who repaired and restored the temple. They also gave money to the carpenters and the builders to purchase dressed stone and timber for joists and beams for the buildings that the kings of Judah had allowed to fall into ruin. You see what's going on here is the temple of God, the church, has become ruins. They've let the wood rot. They haven't taken care of the church. The walls have begun to cave in. Can't you just see the spider webs and the big rats running around? It's just nasty and gross. Nobody wants to go. Nobody wants to be in the temple of God. It's just been left to ruin. Verse 12, the men did the work faithfully. And then let's skip down to verse 14. While they were bringing out the money they had been taken into the temple of the Lord, Hilkiah, the high priest, found the book of the law of the Lord that had been given through Moses. They found the book of law. What's that tell you? What's that tell you tonight? They found the book of law. You know what that tells us? It's been gone so long. They were just rummaging through the ruins of the temple, and they found the book of law. Can I tell you tonight that America, the American church, is on the brink of ruins because we have lost the book of law? It's gone. The Bible is gone. But I'm thankful for a reformer like Josiah who said, stop! The temple of God's in ruin and I'm a God seeker. We're going to clean this place up. And they found the book of law. And in verse 19 it says, hold on, let me find it. When the king heard the words of the law, he tore his robes and he said, what have we done? Josiah said, what have we done? Oh God, what have we done as a nation? What have we done as a church? What have we done? One thing I want to talk to you about tonight that Josiah did as a reformer. I didn't mean to get this serious and it to be so intense right now. But God's moving. 1 point tonight. 1 point sermon. Something that made Josiah a reformer, a restorer. I'm not going to get to it all. We'll continue it next week. Josiah ran after God. You want to be the restoration generation? Do you want to be the young person that crosses the line? Do you want to be the one that begins an awakening of the American church? Do you want to be the one that begins to win souls at your school? That begins to get a team of Josiahs together to start an awakening, a revolution, a restoration of a generation, of a country, of a church? Do you want to be? Run after God. Run. Run to Him. Because those that run after God, they find Him. They find Him. Just like Josiah, they find Him. And if you run after God, I tell you, you're going to find Him. I don't know if y'all get this tonight. I just don't know if you get this. Do you realize what's on the line? 4% of this generation, 4% of this generation feels like they have a heart for God. 4%. 4 generations ago, it was 65%. Do you know where it goes from here? If it continues like it is now, do you know where it goes from here? Do you know where the Christian faith goes? Do you know where the church ends up? I don't know if you just could just capture. If you could just capture what God is trying to speak to you. I can't sleep at night. There were nights last week I didn't go to bed till 4 in the morning. Had to get up at 8. Because it was just Shane. I wanted to call all of you. Hey man, you got to get it together. And I tell you, I'm not just preaching at you. I'm preaching at me. I'm preaching at a generation who has lost, who has let the church go to ruin. To be honest with you, it really isn't our fault. It's in all honesty, it's the baby boomers' fault. But you know whose hands it's in now? It ain't mommy and daddy. It's in our hands. Do you realize the seriousness of this? 4%. 4%. You got to learn to run to God. Josiah was 16 years old and he began to seek after God. Can I tell you that God seekers become God catchers? This always leads to being a world changer. You seek God, you catch God, you become a world changer. You cross the line from mediocrity to status quo to what everybody else is doing to worried about what they think about you. You cross that line and you become a world changer. You become a world changer. And if you just want to hang out with the rest and die and be dried up bones, then you do that. You do that. But those of you, they got a little bit of Josiah in you. And you say, no, I'm not willing. I'm not willing to watch a nation. I'm not willing to watch the church die. The God that means so much to me, the Savior of the world. I'm not going to stand by and watch it fade and let the temple go to ruin. I'm crossing the line. Crush the idols into powder, stomp on their face, and be a world changer, man. Do you really realize if everybody in this room would capture this, we couldn't have enough church services to hold all the people. If you would just capture this, You'd be calling me tomorrow talking about, hey, we got to have a service. There's some people in my class that need to hear that word. Can you get a van out to my school? It's probably gonna need that big bus, because I got people waiting in line, man. You got to hurry up if you really capture.